Welcome back to the Pod Like a Pro podcast, where we help you podcast like the professionals. I'm Liz Clarkson from Pod and Pen Productions, coming to you from the lands of the Awabakal people. Now, you probably know that in general, podcasts are a great tool to sit alongside a business. They help you to create trust and to grow your audience and probably do a whole bunch of different things depending on what your actual goal is. But they are a lot of work. And so is running a business. And probably the hardest part of either of those things is getting them started. So today I'm going to introduce you to someone who has done both at the same time. Leanne Faulkner from Rereadable. Welcome.
Oh, hi Liz. Thanks for having me.
So you have started your new business called Rereadable and your podcast called Your Business Bookshelf at the same time.
Yes, I have.
How's it going?
Oh, it's great. No, look, it's all good. It's all good. I had always planned to do them together because I saw the podcast as a great tool to promote the new business. And so it didn't cross my mind that it would be difficult, really. I just knew it had to be done.
And have you found that was, I suppose, the reasoning behind it, but what has been the experience of doing that?
Look, it's been a lot. That's the truth of it. It's been a lot to sort of organise because I know one thing that was great from doing the course with you guys was understanding the importance of having a bit of a library of interviews already under my belt. And so trying to make that happen in the background while trying to get Rereadable up and running, it's been quite the juggle.
That will benefit you in the long run, I'm sure. Like we tell everybody to try and have, at least 6 episodes before you launch, because before you launch, nobody's expecting an episode. But once you launch, you want to try and be consistent with whatever you say you're going to do. You want to try and do what you say you're going to do. So, having the back catalog is going to help you a lot in these busy few months ahead, I'm sure.
Yes.
So when you're talking about, there's been a lot to do. I find in business, for me, it's all about learning new skills. I feel like I'm learning a new skill every day. So, I mean, you're probably doing this different to me because my skills were already in podcasting, but I had no business skills when I started my business. And you have all your business skills sort of there, but podcasting is something, new-ish to you.
Yes.
You did already have a podcast prior to this one. So how has that been for you, though, learning all those new skills in a very short period of time?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, when you say it like that, it is kind of reverse. So the business skills, yes, that's okay, that's fine. I can get my head around that. Although the online environment specifically is ever changing, so I have to try and keep my finger on the pulse. But certainly you're right, learning how to podcast and to do everything myself has been quite a overwhelming at times experience, but also fantastic because it has really challenged my thinking and I have learnt so much through the process. Yeah, it's really expanded my business knowledge generally, I have to say. So, but I guess I'm lucky in that I am comfortable in the business space because the podcasting space from the journey that we've done has been completely new.
Was there something that you were really dreading, I suppose, was a really big hurdle for you to jump over and now you think, that wasn't too bad?
Yeah, I think I had lots of Dory moments, like just keep swimming. But I've also had a lot of fun moments too, like learning about the equipment and going, okay, I really want to try and do this right from the get-go has been fantastic. And I think the other thing too is sometimes when I feel a bit overwhelmed, I tend to procrastinate. And so this has really made me go and face my fears and do it.
And it's interesting, your podcast in particular, because you do have these 2 different types of episodes, I suppose, as well, which is a lot of people do this. They have 2 different styles of episodes and they might, do them alternate weeks or something like that. And for you, you're interviewing business owners about business books, about their favourite business books in some episodes, and then in other episodes you're actually interviewing the authors of business books. How's that sort of getting your head around all of doing those two different styles of interviews?
Yeah, and they are very different styles. I love them both, actually. They're terrific. I love the chance to speak to small business people and ask them, like, what was your favourite book? Because it's a good learning journey for me. And there's been a few books that I've talked about with business owners that I've never heard of before. So that's actually been really super cool. I think for the authors, it's a different approach because I want to ensure that they know how much I love the book. And I'm ranging the book on Rereadable, and I want them to know that, like, I understand that they would be coming from from a place of high value. They put a lot of work, they put a lot of effort, they care about the content that's in the book. And I want to demonstrate that I care about that as well, which is why I want it on Rereadable. So in some ways, I feel a little bit more pressure when I'm speaking to an author because I have to make sure I read the book, I know the book, I'm across the content, and we've got lots of things to talk about. So it is a very different perspective, but it's rewarding as well because sometimes we get a lot of insights around the thinking that goes in behind the book that they've written, and I just love that.
And actually, I would love to play a little bit of one of those interviews back to you, if that's okay, from your own podcast. So this is a little moment where you're talking to the author of Buy, Grow, Exit, Joanna Oakey. This is actually a bit where you're telling your story, which I didn't know, and I thought that this was great.
I grew billy goat soap. I took a goat, I milked it, I made some soap, right? That story is kind of weird and a bit quirky and out there. But the story I get asked the most to talk about is how did I exit my business? How did I manage to sell my business? And so when I saw this on the bookshelf, I couldn't wait to get a copy because you put the whole story in all together. And look, I'll spruik it to anybody.
You're amazing.
But I wanted to ask you, who would you say is the perfect reader for Buy, Grow, Exit?
Well, and I guess because there's three components, that there can be three different sort of perfect readers. But anyone who is looking to buy or even start, scale, or ultimately exit a business. So it's written for small business owners or SMEs, small to medium sized.
It's perfect.
Thank you for sharing that story. I had no idea about the billy goat soap.
Yeah. Look, long time ago, it was a long time ago. So, and that could be a whole podcast interview all on its own. The billy goat.
It's fantastic, and I suppose that is the beauty of podcasts, is that we do get to share these little moments in times because we're all very complex, long-living individuals, and we have all these wonderful little moments in our lives.
Yeah.
But I do feel like you've hit the jackpot because you've got this great business where you're selling, business books to other people.
Yeah.
But within that, you get to talk to business owners and authors about business. It's great.
I know. How lucky am I?
Have you been learning a lot doing the podcast?
Yes. And I am such a book nerd, probably now thanks to doing my PhD. So I'm such a book nerd that I'm now working in a job that is my utter joy. I've spent the last 12 years working in the space around looking out for the mental health of small business owners. So I absolutely 100% believe in the value of books and learning to help reduce mental health, stress or stressors for small business owners. I absolutely believe it. And I went out and did 5 years of research to confirm it, right?
I have to stop you for a moment and ask you, what was the PhD on?
It was looking at what are the hazards that affect the mental health of small business or micro business owners and sole traders? I looked at that and came up with some really, really very different things than I expected to find. And I looked at the difference between those people who say that they're regularly feeling stressed, anxious and worried in their business versus those that are thriving and really enjoying the highs and the lows. Like, what are they doing differently, I guess? And one of the things that came out was this whole notion of learning, like having the skills, having things in place that helps to give them confidence. And so one of the links to that is knowing your stuff, right? I was going to swear, but I won't.
You can.
Well, you know your shit, right? So, and if you know that, it actually helps to build confidence. And if I feel confident as a business owner, I'm less likely to feel stressed and anxious and worried when it comes to you're still going to, but perhaps at a lesser level when it comes to the really tough times. So what's a great way to package up a bit of learning that doesn't require a subscription, that doesn't cost you thousands of dollars? I've even got secondhand books on my site. So you can get a great book for like $10. I walk into Dimmicks and see the same book for $35 and go, God, sorry, Liz, bit of a plug for Rereadable. Come to Rereadable, get the same words. It's got a dog-eared cover, but come for $10 and learn, and that might actually help you thrive at work. And I truly believe that. So now to have a job where, one, I get to read all these incredible books. And secondly, if I get to talk to an author who has written a book that I think is going to help somebody cope at work, and that book might have nothing to do with mental health, it might have something to do with cash flow or sales, all of that actually affects your mental health. And I get to talk to those people who write these fantastic books, then I've just got the best job in the world, because indirectly we could probably, between us, help a lot of people.
I am so glad that you have made your podcast, because what a wealth of knowledge you have to share with everybody.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's probably more the people I talk to, really.
Oh, yes, but yourself as well. Look, I can't let you go without asking you one last question. Do you have a favourite business book?
You can't ask me that question. It's like asking me which, do I have a favourite child? I love them all. They're all very special. But if I had to kind of pick an author, maybe every Australian author I love, I'd put at number one. Probably at number two, I'd have to put anything from Brené Brown.
That sounds good. We all love a bit of Brené Brown.
Yeah, don't
and
we?
Isn't it great? It does, just thinking about someone like Brené Brown or so many of those books, when you do read them or engage in their content in any way, it does sort of shift your thinking a bit.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
For Leanne, the business is called Rereadable. The podcast is called Your Business Bookshelf. We'll link to it in the show notes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me
thanks,
on Pod
Liz.
Like a Pro.
Thanks for having me.
Leanne was one of our course graduates from the Pod Like a Pro course. And if you'd like to make a podcast just like Leanne has, then head to podandpen.com.au to find out more. Until next time, happy listening.